The slave ship was the means by which nearly 12.5 million enslaved Africans were transported from Africa to the Americas between 1500 and 1866. About 1.8 million of whom died on the Middle Passage, their bodies thrown into the Atlantic. Those who survived came to the Chesapeake Bay region and were forced to work in tobacco fields.
In 1672, the Royal African Company received a monopoly character over deliveries of captives to the English Caribbean island of Barbados and Jamaica. Without putting its own ship, the company hired vessels at a rate of £5 to £6 per slave delivered alive to America.
At first, merchants adopted general merchant vessels from the slave trade. Later, they built ships from the trade's particular specifications, which included portholes for better airflow to the lower decks and copper. The low clearance would have precluded many of the Africans from standing.
Wooden grating separated the men's quarters from the main deck and was designed along with the portholes to facilitate airflow through the lower deck.
The captain and his officers enjoyed personal cabin space, usually below the raised quarterdeck at the stern of the ships, while common sailors slept on the main deck, sometimes under cover of a tarpaulin or in the longboat.
The captain bullies the men torture the slaves heart are breaking with despair.
Discipline aboard slave ships. The men and women exposed to the brutalities of the Middle Passage came from up and down the west coast of Africa. They tended to be prisoners of war, petty criminals, or common people kidnapped by African traders. The two-person leg irons chafed, causing pain and making any movement difficult, especially when one party needed to use the necessary bucket.
The lower deck generally was divided into separate compartments for men and women. With the males shackled together in pairs, most women were left unchained but confined below, while children had the run of the ship. African men and women used the children as means to communicate with one another and, in some cases, to plan insurrection.